G'day everyone and welcome to episode 25 of Aussie Tech Security. I'm Glenn and I'm joined by Roger in a minute, and we're here to give you the rundown on, I don't know, some security issues and topics that we've thought about since we last met and thought we'd share with you. Now, as I said, I'm joined by Roger, who you can find him at his website at rniconsulting.com.au, on the Twitter at SME Security. He's the CEO of RNI ICT Consulting Services, number one seller, author on cybercrime, author of Digital Security Toolbox, and author of the SME, the Digital Security Framework. He's a speaker. I know, that's impressive. He's a speaker, an author, a teacher, an educator. You're worth more money on cybercrime. How to protect yourself in the digital world. Welcome, Roger. How are you going?
Thanks, Glenn. You've been reading my website, haven't you?
I have, yes. I surely have. Now, so I was surprised. I think I have mentioned it before, but yeah, number one selling author on Amazon. That's again, congratulations. That's really good.
Yeah, that happened about 3 years ago, and it was for my second book. I was really surprised with it. It went to number one in 3 categories and number 2 on 2 others. So.
Right, that's excellent. Yes, that's all right. Was there there'd be stiff competition on Amazon, I'd imagine?
Yes, there was actually.
Yeah.
As I said, I was really surprised. The good thing about it, I got a letter off Amazon about 3 weeks ago that says I've now sold 10,000 books, which means that all of my sales, there's no royalties to Amazon anymore. So
right,
more money in the pocket. Yes.
Yeah. So they're not like Apple. They don't take 30% for the rest of your life.
No, they have a stipulation, and you can actually set the stipulation.
Right.
Because I thought one day, fair enough, it took 4 years to sell that many copies, but hey. That's what everything's interested in. So,
yeah.
And the other thing was that was for the downloadable book, not the actual printed book.
Right. Yeah. So they're all. Are they? How many books were there? Just the one, or there's a couple?
Just the one. Yeah. No, I've got 2. The one is just business security, the basics of business security, and then the second one was cybercrime and clear and present danger.
Right, and that's the cybercrime clear and present danger is the one up on Amazon.
Yes. Yeah, the other one's on Lulu, and I can't find it.
It's been hacked.
I hope not. Actually, I've got I had my daughter do the editing of it, and she actually had a copy of it. So we're actually doing a revamped version of it, and we'll put that on.
Right. Good stuff.
Yeah, so when it's done, and we'll tell everybody.
Excellent. All right, now what are we gonna talk about this episode? Let's start with look, everyone, you've taken Roger's advice at least, and you've implemented security protocols or whatever throughout your business or throughout your home. But how do you know that what you've done is actually working, apart from being, you haven't been hacked? How do you know your information isn't just leaking out the back door somewhere and people are, sucking it up and doing nasty things with it? So I'll ask Roger, how do you know if you've been hacked, or how do you prove your cybersecurity is working? What do you reckon?
You get a second opinion.
Right. So, what, you think you're hacked? And you're going,
No. What I'm getting at is in the digital realm, you cannot know everything, and I think that the sooner IT people realise that, the better. Fair enough for small business, so micro business with under 10 people is really difficult to get the security in place and actually be able to a viable concern as a business. But when you start increasing your size and you go from being a small business to a larger business, then you need to have someone look at how you put the system together and also make sure that the system is actually doing what it's supposed to do. Right.
So I guess but apart from say like being hacked, I suppose that's what you guys do, isn't it? You do the penetration testing, you try and get into sites and all this sort of stuff.
Yep. There's ways into sites. Most of the and this is something I've been focusing on in the last couple of weeks is training seems to have the biggest bang for buck for protecting your organisation. Because when you start training people to understand how the bad guys are working and how they're attacking you and how they're delivering most of the stuff to you, then things like social media attacks don't work as well. People are more reluctant to click on links, follow trails down websites, open attachments, all of that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So, and to tell you the truth, it's that split second between you opening up an email and going, I should click on that link, or should I click on that link, is absolutely very, very vital.
Mm.
And if you can see the difference, you actually suddenly realize that if people are thinking before they click, then it means that there's some training behind the system that's actually making it a lot more secure.
Now, I learned, I suppose you could say that I learnt the other day that, because I thought the iPhones, they're pretty secure, no viruses on those, but apparently you can get viruses on iPhones, and it all comes through, just comes through the internet as well. Like, sorry, go.
No, we had a client recently who was hacked through an iMessage.
Right.
To a level where they got their computer was hacked, and the account's computer was hacked, and the person who was the accountant received an iMessage which compromised their phone. When they found out they'd been hacked, they actually changed all their details on the bank account. The bank account, when you change your password and username, they actually send information to your mobile phone as an SMS, and they actually compromise that on the way through.
Yeah, that's nasty. So, because I was using the iPhone, you get these dodgy emails, and you go, I'll just open that on the iPhone.
Yeah.
You think, oh well, because it's not going to work on the iPhone. But
most of the time, you can only target one type of environment. So whether it's Linux, Apple, iOS, Android, there's always a chance that if yes, you might open it on an Apple, and the payload won't work because the architecture is different, which is true. But what happens if you open it and the architecture is actually aimed at an iPhone? Then you've got a problem.
Yes, that's right, exactly. So look, and there's heaps of, as we mentioned, ransomware. There's ransomware being developed all the time. I was reading an article the other day. It's offline ransomware. So
yes.
Yeah, it just embeds into I'm not sure. It must embed into your system somehow, and then just activate and away you go. Is that?
Yeah, as I said, they're getting cleverer and cleverer. Ransomware is the fastest growing cybercrime in the world. It netted something like $7 billion last year, and it's growing. It targets the fact that people still think that I have nothing worth stealing.
Yes.
And that works to a point until you cannot access your email, you cannot access your files, you cannot access your videos, you can't see the pictures of your kids. Then it really brings it home. So unless you've actually done some preparation along the lines of, hey, I've got a backup, you've got severe problems, and that's what they rely on, because people suddenly realise that all of their contact lists are now gone, and all your numbers coming through on your phone are just numbers.
Yeah.
And if you're like me and you look at a number and go, who the hell's that?
That's right.
Whereas normally it comes up and says, that's brother.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so when you mentioned that there was $7 billion of, the industry was worth $7 billion, how do you reckon that they measure that? Is it just through surveys?
It's through surveys, number of people who have been hacked, people who have actually paid. The proportion of people paying and people actually not paying is about 70%, which means that, obviously, as I said, it's a lucrative business. At one stage, when it first came out, they were actually using some of the people who were hacked as a marketing tool to sell to other people. And if you were used like that, they gave you the key for free.
So all this thing, it all goes, you pay in Bitcoins. I guess that's the most popular way. And is that like just untraceable?
Yes. Yeah, it's not untraceable, but Bitcoins works on the principle that everybody knows a transaction, but nobody knows what the transaction is to or from.
Right. Okay.
So in other words, you can see a transaction of 50 Bitcoins, but you can't see who's received it and you can't see who's paid it.
Right. Yeah. So that's why they're using that, because then the authorities can't go in and trace it around and say this is what's going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So look, it's very dangerous, very sneaky stuff, and so the backup is the key. It's easier and cheaper to back up.
Yeah, there's two things you can do. One is use whatever system. So Apple's got Time Machine, Microsoft has got their own backup system, or you can actually invest in something that's going to do it properly. Well, we recommend a product called Shadow Protect.
Right.
And Shadow Protect for a normal PC is about $70, and it's a one-off payment.
Yep.
But what it does is it takes an image and puts it on a hard drive. So if anything does happen, you literally can restore what happened 15 minutes ago.
Right. So you've got like the second hard drive in the machine.
Yep.
And it images whenever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. USB. That will work across to another computer in another area of the house. That works. That all of that stuff is really important. As you know, you never know when your house is going to get burnt down. There's also things like offline backups. So you can actually upload it to the cloud.
That's what I use.
Yeah, we use a product called Aussie because the actual storage is in Canberra.
Okay, how do you spell that? Aussie.
AHSAY, and it's run by a company called Solid Data.
Okay.
Now they use a system literally. You have the username and password. Everything is encrypted, including storage on a location as well.
Right.
So if someone hacks them, no, they can't read the data anyway, and it's really hard to read the data, even if you've got the username and password, unless you've got the application as well.
So with that shadow copy that you were talking about, does it save? It's an image file, so therefore, if you got some ransomware, that file doesn't become encrypted itself.
No. It's not a known file type.
Right.
At the moment, you'll find that some of the ransomware is looking for BAK files, which are the Microsoft backup files.
Okay.
If it finds them, it will encrypt them.
Yes, yeah. So I think that I use Crash Plan. I know it's not in Australia. It's probably I think they do have an office. I'm not sure if it backs up in Australia or not, but it doesn't worry me because it's only just pictures and stuff. But yeah. So I think if I got the ransomware, it's not going to travel up the pipe.
No.
So then I can just kill the computer, start again. So that's yeah.
But some of the newer ransomwares are looking for Google Apps. They're looking for OneDrive.
Right.
So in other words, if you get it, and I suppose the good thing about both of those, you can actually send them an email and say we've been hit by a ransomware attack, and actually can they roll it back to Sunday night type stuff, and they will actually do that. It's a long drawn out process, but it can be done.
Look, I think it was International World Backup Day or something just recently.
Or was it?
I think so. Yes, but I know we've done a backup episode before, so we're not going to rehash all that sort of stuff. But I think just in closing this topic off, I think like your local copy is also good because don't just rely on the cloud like I do. I've got a local one as well because it takes so long to bring everything back down.
That's right.
As well. So you got to if you have a local one that's so old, well jump into it. All right. So look, moving on to another story that was in the news recently is the Wikileaks when
Vault 7.
Sorry, Vault 7.
Vault 7, yes.
That's right. Yeah, they've released. Why it's called Vault 7, I've got no idea. You might, but
I have no idea either. Actually,
where was Vault 6? Is it like Star Wars? They'll start it like
we'll start in the middle and work backwards.
Yeah, that's right. The next one they'll go, well, this is the prequel. We'll start releasing some 95 exploits now. We'll go backwards. So WikiLeaks released a slew of hacks that apparently the CIA had developed or not uncovered, but developed or created to hack into different computers and devices, including now famous Samsung TVs that appeared to be off and they were actually on and listening and recording.
Yes.
But yeah, the hacks have been used to target 40 groups globally, apparently, this research has found. But so is there anything, what can you tell us about that? Are these I'm not sure how deep you've gone into this sort of story or the hacks, but are these the hacks that are just out there floating around, botting around, or are they?
No, these are hacks that have been developed. Now, I think people have to understand that 0-day exploits are compromises that have been found by individuals that the company who owns the software doesn't know about. Now, a 0-day hack or a 0-day compromise can be anywhere between 24 hours. So someone finds out about it, the company finds out about it, they raise a patch and patch it. So 24 hours has elapsed. Or what happened with Heartbeat, which was a Linux-based system that had been around for 21 years. Now, all of these have the capability of compromising a system. Now, to what level the compromise happens depends on how capability the actual application has that gets hacked. Now, if it's something like we use systems here, we can compromise systems like Tomcat, for instance, because when it's installed, usually straight out of the box, it's installed under a username and password that is known by everybody, which is the other thing that they're also targeting. So a zero-day hack can be something like default username and password, which would happen with the Mirai virus. It can be an actual piece of software that has actually been targeted with a buffer overflow or something along those lines, and creates a backdoor into a system.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So do you think that most of this Vault 7 were zero-day exploits?
Yes. Yeah,
right.
It's the same as what they did with Stuxnet. Stuxnet were 3 zero-day exploits that weren't known by Microsoft. When Stuxnet was discovered, they then patched them.
Right. Okay, that's another. I haven't heard of Stuxnet before.
Stuxnet is the Iranian centrifuge virus, and it was created to just shut down those. But it also showed the vulnerability of all of the stuff that we've been talking about. And it's quite funny. Had a conversation with one of my colleagues today about exactly that. What we're seeing now is a fact that everybody wants to use technology, wants to use the newest bright and shiny thing, but a lot of people don't understand how that bright and shiny thing actually works.
Yes, that's right. And the implications of not keeping it bright and shiny.
Yeah, bright and shiny for 3 days. So, look, bright and shiny gone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so all these once the Vault 7 was released, I'd say that everyone's scrambled to patch their software.
Actually, I was quite surprised with how WikiLeaks worked this time. WikiLeaks normally, when they find out this sort of stuff, just puts it on their website and everybody trolls through it and finds the information. This time, they put an indication that it was on, or the capability was out there. They actually then went back to the companies who owned the products and said, these are the problems you've got. You need to patch these before we put the systems on WikiLeaks. So Microsoft got told, Apple got told, the people who are running Android on devices got told, and they were told that this is a capability that's available. You need to find out why it works and patch it so it doesn't work before we put it onto WikiLeaks as a downloadable product. And that they gave them 2 weeks to do that. Most of them actually caught up and did that.
Yeah, well, you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily. So. There's still a couple group of people out there who
just don't care.
Worried about it.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, don't buy any of their stuff.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it comes down to.
Yeah,
you've got to be really aware of what these if they're only interested in money, they're not going to do some of the stuff that they're expected to do.
So is WikiLeaks friend or foe in your eyes?
It's a bit of both. I follow them to a level, but I don't. Everything they do is not gospel to me. A lot of people think they're the be all and end all, but all of this stuff is based on. It's based on people who are concerned about what they're doing and actually then releasing the information. So
yeah,
I can understand things like what the CIA are doing in South America would be really interested and pretty depressing if you were someone who was working in that department.
Yeah, because I guess like with the release of all these security, say tips and tricks and whatever, look, you can look at it and say yes, it is a good thing, because like if this group of people know about it, then there's going to be another group of people that would know about them. And so if there's a chance to patch security holes up, surely that's a good thing, even though in the short term you think it might be wrong to do so because of, the good guys are they're being exposed for their tricks. But,
well, it's the same with what happened in London 2 weeks ago when they had the truck driver and they reckon he was on Pinterest or whatever, Facebook, and telling everybody what he was going to do. Everybody's up in arms about this encryption component. Now, we've actually shown that it doesn't matter how secure a backdoor is, someone knows about it and someone will find it.
Yeah.
If they find it, they will then utilize it. Now, a backward door to encryption, and I wrote an article about this, literally is one of the stupidest things you could ever do because there is no way of actually protecting that back door.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I guess you just I think maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. But look anyway, let's move on to some current scams that are getting around. I do a little scam watch of my own.
Scam watch.
Yes, of my own. And look, there's at the moment there seems to be a few complaints going around to the ACCC of fake online stores that mimic pretty close to the originals. You have to have a pretty keen eye and make sure that when you get to the checkout that you're actually using PayPal or something credible rather than I don't know, Western Union or something like that. That's renowned, renowned for dodginess. Even though the actual Western Union's not dodgy, but they're used by a lot of dodgy people. But you had a story, Roger, didn't you? Was telling me just before the show about fake online stores.
Yeah, we have one of the things that we teach in the undergrad course is we show them a product called WeMan. Now, WeMan is a product that actually can duplicate things like Facebook. And what we can do is you set WeMan up in a free Wi-Fi location. So everybody who is in that free Wi-Fi location is there. You actually have a fake website for all of the major places that people are going to go. So Amazon, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that sort of stuff. And they're going to send you information, or they're going to get people to log on to that. When you put your username and password in, it then goes from the fake site to the real site. So they've just caught your information that is actually available.
Yes, yeah, right. That's a bit tricky, isn't it? So so apparently the people are getting stung with this at the minute. Well, most of the complaints are coming through 18 to 24-year-olds. They make up the biggest people losing money to these scammers. Now, they're often professionally designed fake retailer websites. The biggest, as I said, this article here from a spokesman from the ACCC said the biggest tip-off is the method of payment. Scammers will often ask you to pay using a money order, preloaded money card, or wire transfer, even gift cards from well-known retailers. So how do they use gift cards? They punch their gift card number in, and then obviously it doesn't do nothing, and they've got the number. They go and buy something that they want.
Yep,
once they got
exactly right.
Once they got the number.
Even the people who use the ransomware, you actually use gift cards as well. So
well, that was Apple, wasn't it? They were held to ransom not just recently about something or other. I forget now, but it was that they said, "Oh, if you don't pay us, I don't know, $1 million in gift cards."
Like someone's going to have $1 million of gift cards lying around all over the place.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I don't know why they would do that, but wouldn't they just cancel those gift cards? Get put in
the code, and then we'll go away and cancel all those numbers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so look, the online stores, be careful about those, and also people getting scammed by dodgy internet pop-ups. Now,
yes, I had one of those at home.
That was the one you were telling me. That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes.
My wife came. I was having a shower on the weekend, and she came in and said the computer's broken. It's talking to me, and it's saying that we've got a virus. And after I dried off and had a look at it, it was just a pop-up that says if you don't do this, you are infected and everything else. But I ran a couple of applications that we have that will make sure that we haven't got one, and there was nothing there, so I just shut it down and restarted the computer, and everything was fine.
Wouldn't it be good to be able to get the IP, and then just reverse it and throw it back to the person that's coming at you, and bugger them up?
Yeah, the interesting thing about that was it was actually an advert on Facebook that caused it. So, which means that something has got through the Facebook advertising system to get to that level.
Yeah. I've been to a couple of people's houses, and they say every time I click something on the Facebook, I get this Mick Jagger is dead, and I went,
that's good or bad.
I went, that's obviously. But when I got there was no, we scanned it for viruses and malware and everything, but nothing came up, and because it was just a fake. It must have obviously been a fake ad. And,
it was just a fake ad. We run a product called Autoruns, which is a Microsoft product, and it will tell you everything that's actually running on the computer.
Right.
And you can then go through that listing and find out if there's anything that shouldn't be there. So it'll actually come up in red. We actually use Autoruns when we build computers for clients.
Yeah, okay.
What we do is we run it after we've installed everything.
Yeah,
we run that, we take a recording of it, and then if something does happen and it comes back in again, we take the original that we put out there, plus whatever's generated, and we go, well, these are the things you've installed over the last 18 months. Okay, 99% of them are all right. This one we have to actually do something about.
Yeah. Now I just googled this Autoruns which you speak of.
That's the one.
Yeah. So that's a bit of free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, free, and it is designed for Microsoft. It tells you exactly what is running on the system,
And
what is starting, what's being put in run once, what is run as, all of that sort of stuff.
So wasn't there another tool that would do this? The system.
This is part of Cisternals.
Right.
Okay, and Cisternal's got about 90 applications in it. Autoruns is just one of them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll have a look at this Autoruns. I might have a look at that as well. That looks pretty interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. So pop-ups, yeah, you get I've gone to a few sites, the computer starts beeping, it's going, whoa, alert, and do you want to leave this page, and you got a virus, and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they are hard to get out of. You've got to accept I says, do you want to leave or continue? And the only way to get out of it or stop it beeping other than turn it off is you can't leave it. You got to push the continue, which is against what and hopefully that's the right thing to do.
Go down to the task bar and actually cancel whatever application is running it.
Yeah.
That way, when you actually start it up again, it shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Well, I use the Malware Bytes. I put a lot of faith in Malware Bytes.
Yep.
And look, touch wood, that since I've installed that and the free antivirus, I just haven't had a problem. And I do some probably some dodgy things, links, every now and then, thinking, oh, well, I'll go here, thinking, well, if it's not going to be something nasty, Malware Bytes will pick it up. But do you rate Malware Bytes as a?
Yes, yeah. We use the free version as well. We used it originally just to keep everything, make sure things are right. But it does come up and tell you that there's something wrong and you need to do something. So
yeah. Well, I bought it. I think it's $30 a year because when you buy it just sits in the background and monitors what you're doing. And I think I don't want to be an ad for it, but $30 a year on 3 PCs, you can't go wrong. That's pretty good. And it's also a Mac version as well, which tips out all the crap in your Mac. As pretty much all of it. The OS X as well. All right. Well, I think that we might have to leave it there.
Macs.
Yeah, sorry.
Macs get malware just as much as everything else.
Well, yes.
I said Macs get everything as just as much as Microsoft. So
yes, well, that's right. There's look, they might not have the market share, but there'll be little script kiddies or whatever out there. That's right. Just wanting to cause some trouble, get some bitcoins.
Yeah, that's right.
And whatever. All right. Well, I think that'll do us for this episode. Thanks, Roger.
No worries.
Again, you can catch Roger on the Twitter at SME Security and grab at me at Glenn Goodman or at Aussie Tech Heads, and Roger's page, rogersmith.com.au/Roger. Search up his book on Amazon and give it a go. Be a very interesting read, I feel sure.
Free plug. Thank you.
All right. That's what we do around here when you're host of the show, Roger. Yeah. You can have those. All right. Thanks, Roger.
I'll send you a copy.
Okay. Cheers. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next time.